So does Indian hockey have a roadmap for success at the international level, or are the team's on-field performances being adversely affected by the whims and fancies of a few powerful people in the National Federation? I'm joined now by Michael Nobbs, a former coach of the Indian team who has first-hand experience of the challenges that we are talking about. Michael, thanks for your time. You were keen that Harendra Singh be given the reins of the Indian men's hockey team. Has he done so badly that he was asked to go after just 7 months? And if so, why just him? Why not the rest of the support staff as well?
Well, for a start, I don't think Harendra deserved to be sacked. I mean, he's taken that team, and I said, remember, from the Junior World Cup, when they won the Junior World Cup, that's your Olympic team for 2020. That team will win you a medal. As long as you don't shoot yourself in the foot along the way, that team will win you a medal. India's now number 5 in the world. They are progressively getting better and better. Harendra needs time to settle the team in. He's coached all these. I think one of the things that's happened through Harendra's thing is that a lot of the senior older players that have caused the problems have now left the team, and you've got this very hungry young team. And you've got to remember, they're 3 years younger than the Belgium team, 3 years plus. You know, and the Belgium team is quite an old team, and they've been together for 10 or 11 years. So, you know, I think Harendra should never have been sacked. I mean, I think he with Chris Sorrello were a really good team together.
Michael, you mentioned the World Cup. Yes, the Indians were beaten in the quarterfinals, but it was a narrow defeat, wasn't it? And it was a good team performance that we saw. Certainly not an abject surrender, which should, you would assume, be a creditable achievement given how young the team was.
Look, it really baffles me, to be honest. This young Indian team doesn't give up. They don't know how to be beaten and thrashed. You know, when I was coaching the team, you know, we would consistently get beaten by Australia in the top teams. You know, we just didn't have the players to do it. This young team doesn't get beaten. I mean, and they win a lot of games. They win a lot of tight games. What they do lack is a little bit of experience, but you only get that from playing 150, 200 test matches. There are none of those young boys up around that level yet. And if you have a look at the Belgium team, they're all around that level. So it baffles me why they got rid of Harendra. That just makes no sense whatsoever. He's a good communicator. He understands the Indian culture, and he's got a good tactical advisor in Chris Sorrello. They just need time. The ultimate aim is to win the Olympic Games. That's it.
It's interesting that you mentioned Belgium, Michael, because World Cup winning captain Thomas Briel spoke to us after after that final, and he talked about how Belgium have been together as a unit for the last decade. It's the hallmark of successful teams, isn't it? Continuity. Without that, is it fair to expect medals and success at the global level?
It's very difficult. I mean, you've got 18 months now, I think, till the next Olympics, really. So if you look at the Belgium team, for example, I mean, Adam Commons was the coach, an Australian. Colin Batch was the coach of the Belgium team. Shane McLeod was the coach of the New Zealand team. They had a very old team, and the older players got rid of him, and so he went to coach Belgium. And look at the success Belgium have had now, because the same players have been together as a unit with roughly the same coaching styles over that last 10 or 12 years. And the results are there now from the Belgium team. We've really got to on the Olympics. You know, that's qualify, and I guarantee you, and as I've said many times, I think this is a team that can win you a medal if you don't shoot yourself in the foot along the way.
You mentioned the Olympics, Michael. 6 months to go for the qualifying process to begin, just 18 months for Tokyo 2020. The reality is that no coach can guarantee a medal, isn't it? There isn't a ready-made replacement for Harendra waiting in the wings either. Will the coaches out there now be wary, you think, of taking the Indian job, considering what a high turnover of coaches there has been in the last decade?
Look, I think there would be. I mean, you've only got 18 months till the next Olympics. I mean, it's a very short period of time. I mean, there are some coaches out there that aren't actually contracted that are particularly good. You know, I would hope that the Hockey India changes its mind and puts Harendra back. But, you know, failing to do that, I mean, you're looking at some coaches like Jay Stacey and Mark Hagar, who are proven performers in the Indian Hockey League. proven performers, international coaches. I mean, you know, that's all you really need. You need coaches that are really experienced at this point in time. But one of the really hard things is the Indian culture with the players, you know, and that's what Harendra brought to the team, is the understanding of those players, because he coached them. He won a Junior World Cup. I mean, you don't do that if you're a terrible coach. You know, I think it was a knee-jerk reaction getting rid of him.
And you know, Michael, Hockey India seems to suggest that Harendra was prone to emotional outbursts and could not control the team during a high-profile tournament like the World Cup. Isn't that a bit of a laughable stand, considering they want this very man to go back and train the junior hockey team now?
Harendra is an emotional type coach. There is no doubt about it. But I've been a friend of his for quite a few years. I mean, he brings the best out. He understands these young players, you know, and tells it as it is. You know, he doesn't let them get away with playing little Indian games, mind games and stuff like that. He is emotional, guaranteed, but he knows his stuff. He knows how to bring the best out, and that's what you're going to have to do, because and he's still learning to coach a top senior team. You know, you've got to give him a bit of a chance as well. And 7 months is just crazy. It needs more time.
You know, Michael, the record for which all of these coaches have been fired over the years by Hockey India is the same record that stands against the name of the federation, doesn't it? So is it not logical that they should also be held accountable for the team's results?
Well, I think you have to look at all of those people. Who's on the selection panel? You know, Balbir Singh and Harbinder Singh, all of these players, you know, Arjun Halapa, all of those are making the decisions. They're the ones selecting the players, selecting the team. They're all having input into it. I don't think it's one single person, but I imagine that the person at the top makes the decision, if I can leave it at that.
The man you are referring to, I presume, is Narendra Batra, the Hockey India Supremo, who's currently head of the International Federation. But Michael, where does Indian hockey go from here? Can this situation be salvaged, in your opinion, or has the Olympic campaign already been jeopardized by this episode?
No, look, I think you've got the players now, you know, that can produce the goods. I think it's just an experienced coach from somewhere, be it India or whoever, just needs some, you know, just some time to blend them all together and continue on with the same things that they're doing now. You've got the players, you know, you've got a very strong base of players now. They're not going to suddenly unloose their talent and do crazy things. They're all keen and they're very focused on what they're going to do. So it's by no means a disaster. In fact, it's probably not even a step back, but it's just a matter of, but you're going to need an experienced coach at this point in time.
Yes, Hockey India hasn't even begun advertising for the coach's position yet, so it will be a while before they find somebody to helm the Indian team. We leave it at that for the time being, Michael. Thanks for joining us with your inputs.
My pleasure. My pleasure.